Hello everybody, Andy here again. As you get older, as we all inevitably do, and we all are, do you find yourself sort of forever looking back rather than looking forward? As you get older, I suppose, and the older you get, the worse it probably becomes. You don't look forward so much, you tend to look back. And I watched a video the other day by one of my subscribers, Willie, over there in Florida, and he was doing that. The video is entitled Nostalgia, looking back at parts of his life. And one of the sort of things that he used was his motorbike. He's got a nice 30-year-old, I think it's 30-year-old Triumph motorbike, nice British machine there. And he said that when he goes out for a ride on this machine, which he's had for the whole of its life, it sort of transports him back as like a personal time machine. That's where I got the idea for this video from, with his blessing, I might add. And I wonder if anyone else has got something like that that they can think of, they can see, they can feel, they can touch, which automatically sort of transports them back. It transports you back to an earlier time, possibly what you might think of as a better time, to good times in the past, you know, or even maybe not good times as well. We've all got photographs, or the majority have got photos, photo albums, things like that, which we all know. We look at them for nostalgic purposes. We sort of get them out of family gatherings, don't we, and embarrass people with, oh, look at that picture of you when you were a baby, etc, etc, my haven't you grown, and all those sort of things. Well, now we've got video cameras, yeah, of YouTube. I know I've covered this sort of subject before, and preserving all these videos, photographed digitally or whatever, for ourselves to look back on as well, and for future generations, our children, etc, etc, and even for the world for that matter, as a sort of a historical document. But music is one thing, I suppose. Especially, you look at old albums, if people out there remember the old album sleeves and that you used to get in days gone by. CD covers aren't quite as artistic maybe as what things used to be, and they were obviously bigger in the old days, the old 12-inch singles and 12-inch albums, etc. Something like that. We all have bits of music that take us back as well. Something that I've noticed is smells as well tend to take you back. I was lucky enough to go to India 20 odd years ago, and I smell certain smells sometimes, generally not particularly nice ones, and they automatically, instantaneously sort of transport me back to the sort of streets of Delhi or something. And I expect most other people have got that sort of a smell recognition which transports them. But what I'm thinking of more is sort of more of a physical thing. Something that people used to do is women always used to keep their wedding dresses. I don't know if people still do that now. I suppose weddings tend to be not quite as traditional as they were in days gone by, but people used to keep their wedding dresses. Maybe it's partly to see if they still fitted into them after several years of happily married life, I don't know, and several children as well maybe. But that was exactly the sort of thing, you know. Do you keep a piece of clothing which automatically transport you back? As I said, Willie's got this motorbike, he gets on there and he's away, and he's going back through time. You might have kept anything. It might even be an old pair of shoes or something like that. So I'm interested to know that sort of thing. Also, do you look back not just at the good times, but maybe at the bad times as well? We always tend to look back. I watched a video earlier by Geriatric 1927, and looking back to when his wife was alive, and looking back at all the good times, trying not to sort of dwell on the bad times, and trying not to sort of think about the fact she's not here, but looking at all the good things that did happen when they were together, and laughing a lot about it. And it was a good little video. I suggest you watch that one as well. But sometimes it is, in a perverse way, quite good to look back at bad times as well, if only to realise where you've come from that. You know, you're a happier person now, things are better for you. I'll give you an example that when my daughter was born, nearly 13 years ago now, in the first couple of months of her life, she had a very serious heart defect and had to go into hospital, and she did actually sort of technically die for about 10-15 minutes. Thankfully she survived that, and but was in hospital, and as you can imagine, she had the tubes and she was on life support and all that sort of stuff. And we took sort of photographs at the time. You do think sometimes, why did we do that? But it is quite a good thing to look back at that, to remind ourselves it wasn't a nice time to go through, but it reminds her, if she can see what happened. It reminds my son, who was very young at the time when he was affected by it. But it is sometimes good to look at things like that as well, which aren't necessarily good things. It was a special period in our lives, not maybe for the right reasons, but it didn't actually do us any harm in some respects. Now my daughter's sort of hopefully fully recovered from that, and it is sometimes good to look back at not so good times as well. We always tend to look back at the past through like rose-coloured spectacles, as we say over here, and not look at the bad times. So anyway, dwelled, gone off a little bit on that sort of subject there as well. It's always good to look at the bad as well as the good. But have you got a personal time machine? Have you got something that you've kept purposely, maybe, to sort of remind you of the past? Have you got something that as soon as you see it, you touch it, you feel it, whatever it is, you handle it, it automatically transports you back to a better time, or even a worse time for that matter? It doesn't matter. A personal time machine, even a specific piece of music that takes you back to a specific time. Maybe it's your honeymoon, I don't know, the birth of your child, whatever it might be. I'm very interested to see any video responses, any comments at all. But thanks to Willie for sort of sparking the idea in my head, and he's out there riding on his motorbike, transporting him back to a younger time, no doubt. So thanks to him for that. Thanks for your time, and I shall see you again soon. Thank you. Goodbye.